Morning, everybody. I'm late, and by the, the reason for that is technical difficulties, and by that I mean my dog wouldn't recall. Just kept sprinting around me. Come, nope. Sophie, come, nope. Just sprinting everywhere. Thinks it's playtime. It's not. It's drum time. So I guess technically different kind of play. In these live streams, I like to share how I'm practicing, what I'm practicing, and answer questions that people happen to have any in the different chats that I have up on my monitor. There's over 500 live streams that I've done. There's a wide range of questions that I've gotten about how to get better as a performer, how to get better as an educator, and I will often edit those and put them into this drumming tips playlist that now has over 20 hours of drumming Q&A on a range of different topics, like how to improve your buzz rolls, or how to hold traditional grip, or whether or not you should take a gap year with DCI and WGI, etc. All of these drumming tips start with the topic as the title, so like what moves with traditional grip. And then when it says and other drumming tips or and other teaching tips, that means there are more topics in there. So use the timestamps in the description to jump to a different topic in case the title does not interest you. But again, over 20 hours just inside of this particular playlist. Now, what you're all waiting for is me and you to get motivated by the great sage Shia LaBeouf. So Shia here is going to help to get us motivated to work on Flam 5s today. Here we go. Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it! Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not gonna stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it! Yes, you can! Just do it! If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Wow, Shia LaBeouf should do this speech for my dog, who did not recall this morning. Okay, we are going to work on Flam 5s today, and then I'm going to stretch and massage, and then I'm going to work on Flam 5 some more, and then I'm going to chop out. Now, speaking of chopping out, yesterday I added in a few more shopping sprees into the shopping spree playlist. There's now 37 shopping sprees inside of here. So if you go inside of this particular playlist in the chop section, there's a ton of stuff to keep you busy for quite some time. So enjoy. And by the way, these members first ones, they're all scheduled to release for free. Every single one of them. There's like around 600 of them. So stay tuned for more. But click on the header for any of these different areas and it'll expand and show you the different content, whether it's like limb independent stuff like I did yesterday, or the tips and the lessons like I was demonstrating at the start of the stream. But I'm going to be in the grid section today. And the last time I played through the Flam 5 grid, I went faster than I'm going to start off, but I'm going to just use this to warm up, stretch and massage, and then we'll just keep going up one click at a time until my arms burst into flames. So I'm doing a triplet version, but there's also 16th note versions, whichever one you want to work on. And I'm going to do just Flam 5 on 1 forwards. There's a backwards version, which are the 1, 2, 4 variations, and then there's a ton more different variations for like Flam 5 every 5 note or like whatever. So check it out if you're interested in it. But let me unmute, make that bigger, and turn up the volume, jam pump it up. No, we're going to start off at 120. Inside the timestamps of all these thousands of play-alongs, just click on a BPM that you want to practice at. If it ends with a 0 or a 5, it gives you a few seconds to get ready before it taps off. Otherwise, it immediately taps off. Here we go. Late. My left hand feels really smooth. right. My stick's actually slipping out. Stop it. Last rep, stretch and massage. Sweet. All right, now I'm going to stretch and massage so that way I can relax my hands. The first one that I'm going to do stretches the sides of the forearms. So you take your sticks, you hold them in your palms, facing up. You pull in, you push through. It looks funny. It feels great. Sometimes I'll get like random commenters who it's their first time seeing me do this stretch, and they're like, "You're going to injure yourself." Okay, well, been doing it for almost 30 years. Taught all my students how to do it. No problem so far. Thanks for your insights. Appreciate you. To get out of this, just go out the way that you came. It looks funny. It feels good. If you do rotary motions like traditional grip, or if you do like form out stuff, which is also a rotary motion if you do like Stevens, then you can take your sticks, hold them, and turn this way. Ooh, that feels good. And then hold it for like 20, 30 seconds, and then hold it this way. 20 to 30 seconds, whatever you need to do. Because I don't play traditional and I don't do mallets anymore, despite owning a marimba, I am not going to do that one. I am, however, going to stretch the underside of the forearm, so I'm stretching along here. I could do it one at a time like this. You could do it two at a time like this, or you could do it on the wall. The lower you go, the deeper the stretch. This is cool. I can turn the heater on for you if that would help. Don't put all your weight into this because we don't want to rip stuff. That would be bad. Ooh. It feels good. Oh, yeah. Next, I'm going to stretch the top side of the forearm. So instead of going this way, we go the other direction. You could do it one at a time. You could do this on your pad. You could do this one on your leg. You could do this one on the wall. The higher you go, the deeper the stretch. Plus, you look like a zombie while doing it. Pretty cool. Again, don't put all your weight into it. And the final stretch, thumb to thumb. My voice almost cracked. You know, puberty at 40. It happens. So this stretch is for each one of the fingers. This just goes twice as fast if you do like thumb to thumb, finger to finger. And then I'm going to do a quick massage routine, and then we'll play more Flam 5s. Woo! Exciting, I know. It was like, what, 3 streams ago of the technique streams where I was demonstrating starting at 40, going up one click at a time. Now we're in the triple digits. Woo! Faster than anyone's ever played a Flam 5 before. 120 beats a minute. Gonna get a medal from the Guinness Book of World Records for that. Thumb is on top, fingers underneath, massaging. If you don't know my sense of humor, that was a joke. I had like some band directors who I worked with and also like studied with who were like super dry sense of humor. People didn't always understand when they were making a joke. Often go right over their heads. And it made me laugh. So for this, you're just kind of like massaging up and down the forearm. You're trying to just loosen everything up. Then we're going to do the hands. So this is doing thumb massaging the palm, fingers massaging the back side of the hand. Work your way around. And there's one more very quick one. And then we'll get back to Flam 5s. So the last one is base to tip of each one of the finger. Massage at least twice, maybe thrice. Just try and relax your hands. And then once I'm done with this, we will continue. So this is going to start at 125. And I'm just going to go up one click at a time. And I'm specifically like monitoring my technique. So while working on this, the two things that I was like really focusing on, one was making sure that my left hand didn't flatten out to more of a German approach. So I want to keep that like American tilt. So for context, German, American, French, generally speaking. So I marched traditional grip, and now I'm playing match grip. So my left hand is not as good as my right hand. And so I'm trying to match the angle. But then also the contact point on my thumb for my left hand is inconsistent with the contact point for my right hand. So what's happening, my right hand is staying flat. If we think of like the 4 different like corners of the thumb, it's kind of staying flat on here. But my left thumb, it was moving more towards the tip like this. This is a very exaggerated version of it, more like this as opposed to this. So that little subtle motion was causing some tension. And so that's what I was working on with this. So let's continue. Oops, wrong pedal. Wrong pedal. There we go. Play, please. Click. Yeah, so it's like a little bit like moving up contact point is putting a little bit pressure up here on the top left corner of the thumb. Again, over exaggerating like that. And I don't want it to do that. I want it to maintain that flat. So I'm like actively thinking about like bringing it back down to over here while working on this. So that's something I'm working on with this. But again, it's to be expected that my left hand is not as good as my right hand because of how many seasons I've marched this way. And now that I play this way, it just doesn't have the amount of time that my right hand has. Yeah. A little bit better with the thumb. So, yay, progress. And go. Oh, way too early. Not even close. Yeah, so another thing to consider when doing this is make sure you're not like playing it like a tenor drummer. No offense. But we don't want to have it like... For like the first line, don't do that. Keep it distinct, accents and taps and whatnot. Especially when playing the second phrase, the second measure, so... Yes, it's weird going from that grace note height into the upstroke diddle, but just takes time. And then that last one's also a little bit easier. But for whatever reason, despite it like being easier to play, those low diddles and cheese is like they have a tendency to kind of like creep up. So it's like instead of. So really keep those nice and low while staying nice and relaxed. That's the goal, at least. But as you get faster, it's hard to maintain like appropriate sound quality, control, technique, etc. Which is why, like, when you go through the cycle, starting at 40, working your all the way up to wherever you chop out, whatever the issue is that caused your like hands to kind of fall apart, the sound quality to fall apart, then go back to 40 and work on that thing. So if it's like your thumb got really tight, cool. Now I'm going to slow it back down to 40 and really focus, going one click at a time, trying to get it up to the maximum speed again while relaxing the thumb. And then when you get to the maximum speed, something else might fall apart. Then you start at 40 again. You just kind of work your way through this. There's a reason why these playlists, or all these play-alongs rather, go down to 40 or sometimes even 20. It's because it's good for you. And for context, I've been drumming for almost 30 years. So like, if I can slow it down to 40 in all these live streams, you can too. Here we go. Whoops. Now, if you're like just jumping in and you're like, cool, I like this. I want to learn this grid variation. Cool. Go to my home tab. Don't go to the video tab. The video tab is not where you want to sort through thousands, plural, of drumming content. The home tab is. For all these different sections, whether it's the chop stuff at the beginning or the technique stuff towards the bottom or the tips and lessons, whatever, just click on a header and it shows you all of the playlist. So for example, for the grid variations, if I go to the right here, it stops at Flam drags. There's nothing else there. If you click on the header, we can see that there's more. So where it stopped at Flam drags here, there's more that's underneath it. So just click on a header, and then you can go into the playlist that interests you. So for grid variations, this will work up either a triplet version or 16th note version of all these different rudiments, like Flam on 1, or Flam drag, or Flam 5 every 20 notes, whatever. The one I'm doing is just this one. Highly recommend starting here. Then you can get all the wacky stuff that's underneath it. But for now, just start with like Flam 5 on 1, either forward or backward. Okay? And then if this is too fast for you, that's cool. Just go into the timestamps. You can start as slow as 40 or 63 or whatever you want. And then you can go faster if you want to, as fast as 200. If you could do that, sweet. Have fun. Let's continue. But there's thousands more. If you don't like Flam 5 variation, that's cool. I got you covered. Interesting. There's like a weird, like, pressure right here that I haven't experienced before. I don't know why that's tightening up. Who knows? I don't know. Let's try 137. Okay, tea break. Got some jasmine tea this morning. Oishii desu. Okay. So it's getting to a point where it's fast. And again, it's going to start to break down technique, sound quality, consistency, etc. It's to be expected. That's what happens. So when that happens, think of it like data collection. Don't just sit there and just keep grinding it out when it sounds bad. Once you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm consistently inconsistent, focus on that thing that is not sounding good, not feeling good, not looking good, any of those three categories, and slow it all the way back down to 40 again, which is what I will do in the future. But we're not 100% falling apart yet, so I want to see what with my technique is going to do that as we continue to speed up. So far, it's more the thumb than the angle. So like this is not flattening out anymore. Yay! It's got the American feel to it. But that might change as I get faster. The biggest issue is still the thumb. That's a consistent thing that I need to continue to work on with it. Part of the reason why the left hand is inconsistent, one, is because of marching traditional. But another reason why is because wearing my wedding ring on the left hand, it made it so that it would click. It would make whenever that would happen. And so I would intentionally play my left hand differently than my right hand to prevent the click, and was doing that for too long that it kind of ingrained a bad habit. And I was like, you know what, how about I actually play more consistently? So that's why I wear my wedding ring now on my necklace when I do these, so that way I don't have that clicking sound. But all those little things make subtle differences in your technique, which can impact the way you sound when you hit drum. Speaking of, now, sometimes people will be like, why aren't you just playing with a metronome? Because these play-alongs make it so you can practice listening in. So that way you can hear if your rhythmic interpretation is slightly off, and you can't get that with a metronome. I've got a video under the drum. Sliding a little. So is my stick. It keeps doing this. I swear, something has happened to make my hands softer. But my stick is just slowly sliding out. The other day when I was playing, it got to right here. I only had 3 fingers on contact with the end of it. Turns out it's hard to play Flam 5s when you've got Well, that was like basically 2 fingers on the stick. Don't recommend it. I got soft hands, apparently. Yeah, keep sliding. Stop it. Get some help. Okay. What I want to do now is I'm going to go up by 10 because it's at the point where like the technique is like starting to fall apart. And like I don't need to work on endurance. These sticks do it enough. These are the hammers, Hardeman hammers, so they're like stupid heavy compared to regular sticks. But I'm going to go up by 10 and just see like where does my technique completely fall apart. And then that gives me data for stuff that I can work on in the future. But for the next like pad stream where I'm just on one drum, I'm actually going to do a paradiddle zoom zoom. So somebody left a comment requesting that one. So we'll do that one next. That's a good one to work on. It's a way to build up your paradiddle speed. So we'll kind of go through that next time. But this was 150, right? So let's do 150, and then I'll go up by 10. Cool. 160 timestamps. Jump to a BPM. Click. BPM with a 0 or a 5 at the end of it gives you a few seconds to get ready. Woo! Wish me luck. Okay, so the thumb is still moving a little bit. Is still just a wee bit moving towards the tip, the contact point. This is a very exaggerated version of this. Don't do that. We want to keep it flat. My thumb's doing it. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's likely causing some tension, which is going to slow me down at the speed. Too fast. My arms didn't burst into flames, though. Let's try it faster. First, I'm stalling. My forearms are so warm right now. It's great. I got the pump. That is a horrible Arnold impersonation. I'm sorry. If you want to unsubscribe now, I don't blame you. I'll practice it. I'll work it up slowly with a metronome. The pump. I'm gonna get water real quick. Okay, so this is gonna crash and burn. I probably won't even get through the first line. And it's gonna look like a tenor drummer. All the heights are gonna be like the same height. We're not gonna have accents or taps. No, why do that? We march tenors. But again, it gives me some data for things that I'll practice in the future. Go. Way early. I failed my attempt, so I had to dance for the Flam 5 gods. Okay, so this version, again, you can find in the Home tab under the grid section. Here. So just click on the header, and it shows you all these grid variations. The one that I was just doing is forward Flam 5 grid. There's also a forward Flam 5 grid for 16th notes. But then there's the 1, 2, 4 variations. So what I just did was 4, 2, 1, 4 of each, 2 of each, 1 of each. And the accents were starting on the first partial, the second partial, the third partial. You can do the opposite of that by going to Flam 5 on 1 with 1, 2, 4 accents. In all of these 1, 2, 4 variations, it flips it. So instead of going 4, 2, 1, it goes 1, 2 of each, 4 of each. And the way it's doing it is it's third partial, second partial, first partial. So it switches things up. So if you want to play what's also called backwards grid, then try these 1, 2, 4 variations. And if you want to get extra fancy, you can do both. So all of these like Flam 5 variations and all these grid variations will have like a forward version, a backwards version. Here's Flam 5 on 2, forward version, backwards version. Here's Flam 5 on 3, forward version, backwards version. So it's very thorough. There's a reason why there's over 1,000 grid variations. It's because there's all these different variations where it puts it on different partials or moves it into different order, etc. Or it's 2 accents or 1 accent, whatever. But if you're just starting with like different grid variations, start with just this one. Rudiment on 1, forward. Don't worry about all the other wacky stuff. That's once you get rudiment on 1 down. And you can do that with all of these different rudiments on here. What I'd highly recommend if you're like a beginner or intermediate drummer is 1, go slow, like 40 beats a minute. But 2, just focus on the fundamental rudiments, like, for example, the sticking variations, diddles, and then flams. Once you can do those with like diddle on 1, flam on 1 for both like the triplets and for the 16th notes, ideally while marking time, then you can get into the more complicated stuff, some of the hybrid rudiments. The 3 that I'd focus on would be cheeses, flam drags, and flam 5s. Don't get into all the weird stuff like book reports or like hurt to grid or whatever. Don't worry about all this stuff at the bottom. Just focus on those fundamental ones, and that'll help prepare you for your practicing. But the best thing that you can work on in general is the technique section. So this is where I normally spend my time, is working on here. Like I did yesterday, doing the endurance and speed stuff with my feet. Highly recommend it. But next, pad stream where I'm just on the snare pad. What I'll do is I'll go into the Rudiment Builders playlist right here, and I will work on the paradiddle zoom zoom, as somebody requested. So this exercise is a great way to work on your paradiddles and speeding it up. So it's a variation of an exercise that I learned from Vern Johnson. Vern Johnson was the tenor soloist in Blast, like the musical. And so I studied with him for several months, I think over a year, and learned a lot of really cool stuff about how to speed up your hands and whatnot. And this is a great way to work on the different mechanics involved with the paradiddle. So when you're playing, this is just the accent. So that part is what your hands are doing for the diddle part of a paradiddle. And then the second half of the exercise is playing hertas, but you're accenting, which you also play at the start of the paradiddle. So that's the part of it. So if you can isolate out these different mechanical groupings, like the diddle part and the para part, then it can help you to speed it up. So we'll work on that next time. But I actually want to chop out. So I'm going to go back into the home tab here. So in the home tab, I'm going to scroll into the chop section, and I'm going to do a shopping spree. Because I just added a few more sprees yesterday, I want to just kind of like have fun with one of these. So we'll chop out with it. My debate is, do I want to do Blue Devils 99 spree, or do I want to do Velvet Knights 5-4 spree? Decisions. There's 37 sprees in here, so, keep you busy for a while. Lots of really cool licks. Let's do the Velvet Knights 5-4 shopping spree. This one, it's unique. One, because it's 16th note. Usually they're 12-8 based. This one is not. It's in 5-4. So this particular exercise, when you're playing through it, you're going to do float variations of a rudiment. So here's a normal flam drag. But a float version is a 5-note version that we see right here. Cha-da-da-da is your normal flam drag, but a float version adds on an extra da-da-da before it switches off the left. Okay? So those are float flam drags. And the float, by the way, comes from Tom Float, who was a caption head like at Blue Devils formerly. He's dead now, unfortunately. But float drags That's what you're playing in this first part. The next part is float cheeses. You keep this diddle on the 4th partial, but you just do a cheese. Oops, I started doing the Flam 5. Okay, Flam 5s, float Flam 5s. Okay, so if you're doing float drags, float cheese, float 5. So this is one of the many exercises that I've got on my home tab under the chop section that has these float variations. And then here's all the tag stuff that's fun. Anyways, I've rambled a bunch. Let's actually hit drum. Let's start off at a nice, reasonable, I don't know, 80? Shut da 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 da. And go. Almost. Ew. I almost did a 3-stroke and then I stopped. I was like, what are you doing? I don't know why. She swallowed the fly. Fun, right? Let's hit drum faster. I'm going to go up by 10s. If you're learning this, start at 40 and just let it go 1 click at a time. I promise it'll be worth your time. But because I already know this one and I'm just chopping out at the end of my practice session, I'm going to go up by 10s until I can't play it any faster. Just for fun. This is not the normal thing that you do. You do not spend most of your time playing fast. Go slow. Refine. Didn't actually mean to hit that rim shot. I usually don't do rim shots because these are super heavy Hardeman hammers and I don't want to break them. I've had them for a long time. I keep good care of them because they work on chops. And so I avoid rim shots. Here we go. Cool, 110. Click. Go. Way off. Okay, I think 130 will probably be the breaking point today. Stay tuned, we'll find out on today's episode of Jared Hit Drum Fast. Although usually it's Jared Hit Drum Slow. And go. Oh, I got it. Thank you for the react. You know when, like, it feels like you need to, like, pop, like, a knuckle or a wrist and get that little bit of, like, weird, like, pressure? I, like, felt that, like, right at the end on the flams on the right. It, like, needed to, like... Weird. All right. We're going to try 130. It might cause my arms to spontaneously combust, so I need to consume some water. So that way I can spit it out when the flames arise. Timestamps in the description. Go at whatever speed you want. This one starts as slow as 20. You can practice it with your feet at that speed. Have fun. It goes as fast as 160 if you can play it faster than me. Sweet. High five to you. Oh, that was a good clap. I've been practicing with a metronome. Oh my. Oh. That's a lot. That last line in particular. All the notes. Hey to you. Okay. Hi. Let's see. By the way, there's like a 20-second delay between like what I'm doing and what you see. And so like the chat's going to be very delayed. It's unfortunate. How did I make my hands fast? By practicing slow. It's a bit of a, like a, wait, what? But that is the actual answer to it. So the reason why I was able to play as fast as I could with any of these rudiments is because when I practice this stuff, I practice this stuff slow. So I start at like 40 beats a minute. And then I sit there and grind it out. The amount of time that it's going to take to like do this tap off, I could go make myself breakfast. It takes forever. So what you do when you're practicing this stuff slow is you stay nice and relaxed. You just pull back the accents. And you really focus on refining the technique. Get out of the way of the drumming, etc. Okay? And this is not a joke. This is literally what you need to do. Trust me, I'm a doctor. So if we go to the home tab here, it's actually a video. If you scroll down, there's thousands of play-alongs. Ignore them for right now. Just go to the tips and lessons section. In here, there's 20 hours of me responding to questions like your question on these streams. And that's edited, by the way. So that gets rid of all my, let me think about it for a minute. But there's over 20 hours in here. But there's a lesson in here called, scroll down. This one, how to speed up any rudiment. And then there's also the one right underneath it. I'm a pro drummer, but practice like a beginner. Why? I'd recommend watching those two. So this talks about why I slow down my drumming to refine it. And why sometimes people come into these streams and be like, you don't know how to drum. And I'm like, kid, I've been teaching drums longer than you've been alive. But the reason why I slow it down, I outline in here. But inside of this video, 2 minutes and 38 seconds, it shows you two main concepts. One is how to mentally reframe how you think about drumming. So you're no longer thinking of individual stickings, and you instead do something called chunking. So in your brain, you're basically training your brain, your hands, to think and play in chunks rather than individual isolated notes. If you can start thinking in chunks like that, you'll basically start reading in words as opposed to reading in letters. So like if instead of reading this particular sentence, instead of going HOWTOSPEED, like etc., you're reading how to speed up any rudiment. You're chunk, 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 chunk. You can do that with your drumming as well, and I talk about how to do that. But also, there's the mechanical thing of how to actually speed up a rudiment. And so the exercises for that I actually show at the end of it to speed it up. So when it pulls up the playlists, it's got several different things that you can use to work up your speed, whether it's an individual exercise to work on a specific rudiment or this one. And I'll just very quickly demonstrate it to you. But again, watch this video. It will specifically show you what to do. So inside of this Rudiment Builders playlist, there are a ton of different exercises that work on different rudiments, like speed up your paradiddles, or to speed up your flam accents, or your flam drags, or whatever. So pick any one of the rudiments that you want to work on and just go slowly through the exercise, really refining and getting out of the way of your sticks. You play faster by letting physics work for you. So you're not doing all the motions. You're just doing the downstrokes. You're letting the rebound control it for you, etc. So that way you can be able to get faster with your playing, as opposed to like trying to manually play it in there. But the other thing that I mentioned at the end of this particular one, this video, not that one, this video, is this playlist, the slow, fast, slow playlist. And so what this does is it starts at a BPM, 40. It goes up to a maximum BPM that you select, like 120, and then it slows it back down again to 40. And so this playlist is a great way to work on speeding up like a rudiment. So for example, let's say you're working on Flam 5s like I was doing earlier. I would go into here and select like the triplet subdivision. And then I'd say I can play Flam 5s at, I don't know, 100 beats a minute. So I'm going to go from 40 to 100 to 40. And it's going to count off at 40, and it's going to go one click at a time faster every 4 beats. So it's counting off right now. I think you should be able to hear that. So now it's triplets, and you would play. Now it's 41. Woo, so fast. Now it's 42. Okay, so it just keeps doing this over and over and over, all the way until it gets to the maximum tempo that you select, which in this case is 100, and it'll hold it there for 4 bars, and then it'll start going one click slower until it goes all the way down to 40 beats a minute. This is another great way that you can work on speeding up a rudiment, your feet, your hands, whatever it is that you want to work on, is using those playlists inside of there. Use the videos to make it faster and better? Yeah, so I actually demonstrate this in like the different practice streams that I do. So for example, at the start of this particular stream, I was playing Flam 5's grid. So I was doing... Okay, so that's the first line of it. But I started at 120. But that was after I started it previously much slower. So if we actually go to the prior streams in here, this playlist has got all these different streams. And you can see the Flam 5's grid. If I go back like a couple of streams ago, you'll see when I was working on this, like using the timestamps, that I started like here. I'm at 41 at that point, and I'm going one click at a time. A little bit further ahead, I'm at 43. A little bit further ahead, a little bit further ahead. And I'm just going up one click at a time, letting the play along gradually speed it up while I'm refining my playing. And again, I've been drumming for almost 30 years. I've taught every grade, kindergarten through doctoral students. So it's not like I can't play faster than this. The reason why I'm going at this like slow pace is because it helps me refine my technique. So when playing through an exercise like this, it might feel like it's tedious, but like if we look at the grid variations inside of here, let's just go with like a triplet one. Since I was doing Flam 5s, I'll just pull that one up again. But if you look at the timestamps inside of here, it shows you like how long it would take to get from 40 to, let's say, 100. So if we start at 40, the very beginning, and we go all the way up to 100 beats a minute, it would take you 42 minutes total. You could do that in one session, or you could do that spread out over like 4 sessions if you wanted to. Do about 10 minutes each, just working on it. So when you're doing this, it feels really tedious, but I promise this is how you actually improve your rudiments, how you refine your technique, etc. The way I learned this was from Jeff Queen. Jeff Queen is a 4-time world champion snare drummer, for 2 times for DCI and 2 times for PASIC. And he's the snare soloist in Blast, the musical. So I got a couple of lessons from him, and I was like, dude, how did you speed up your hands? Show me what you do. And so he showed me some different exercises and whatnot. But the thing that he said that he did, thank you for the sub. The thing that he said that he did to be able to like actually speed up his rudiments and to be able to speed up anything was just going like 1 click at a time, just gradually going through it. So if you do this with like the resources that are in here, whether it's these play-alongs or whatever, start slow and go through it. Just trust the process. It is a grind, but if it works for a 4-time world champion snare drummer, it will work for you as well. It's worked for me, it's worked for my students, etc. And again, I've been teaching since 2003. So like I've seen the growth that can happen over years of practicing with myself and with the students that I've worked with. And going slow is the best way to do that. But again, I talk about that stuff more and elaborate on like, well, how do you do that in the drumming tips playlist that has over 20 hours of tips in here for answering different questions like this. But the 2 specific videos that I recommend you check out for speeding up is inside of the drumming lessons playlist, and is how to speed up any rudiment. And then I'm a pro drummer, but practice like a beginner. Why? So I'd recommend that. So I'm all about making hands faster. Yeah, so like I'm a percussionist, but my primary instrument is rudimental. So like marching snare drum is what I marched. So like back in the day when I was on drumline, I marched for snare drum in high school, college, and DCI. And so it was all about playing fast, playing rhythmic precisions, etc. But I'm a percussionist, so I've also learned like Burton's grip. I've also played timpani. I've also learned Stevens grip on mallets. I did all the concert instruments, etc. And then drum kit is something that I'm learning for fun, because I was like, I haven't ever really worked this up. So I've been working on a bunch of limb independent stuff. So yes, I play fast, but the main thing that I focus on is making music with the different instruments that I have learned how to play over the years. So it's primarily been rudimental, then concert stuff, and then like less than 1% of my time has been on drum kit. So I know how to play fast, but the way that I learned how to play fast was following the things that I outline in this video, how to speed up any rudiment. Practice slow, break it down like mentally into those chunks, and then work on the mechanics and isolate it out. But again, I highlight that on there. It just takes time. So depending on how long you've been playing, it might be like years until you actually get better, but give it time. You'll get there. But all the resources on my home tab is where like I'm trying to like create the stuff that I wish I had when I was learning how to drum. So like all these like play-alongs for like the chop stuff, like the shopping spree that I was playing earlier. The reason why I have that is because like I used to play along to like the there's like a Blue Devils like CD where this was before like YouTube was even invented. Yes, I'm that old. But there's a Blue Devils CD that you would I would put into my boombox, and I just sit there and like rep it out, like playing Triplet Diddle or Flam Accent Heights or whatever, playing along with it. And like I couldn't slow it down until eventually there was a program called Amazing Slowdowner where you could do that. But I couldn't slow it down, and I couldn't speed it up if I could play it faster. I couldn't refine it. So I was like, man, I wish I had like an ability to do that. And when I started teaching in 2003, I actually started creating those resources for the students. And then this is like the evolved form of that, like going up 1 click at a time with all these different play-alongs. So it's like it's what I wish I had for all the play-alongs. And then for the tips and lessons, I've spent a lot of money studying with a lot of really cool people over the decades that I've been playing the drums. And I realized just how expensive it is to like study with people privately and to learn from others. So I wanted to create resources that anyone could use. And so these are all free. So like all the drumming lessons are like tips that I've learned from some really cool people over the years. Same thing with all this like drumming Q&A. There's over 100 videos in here from like answering different questions like should you play multiple instruments to teach percussion, or tips for improving your buzz rolls, or I don't know, Why marching band isn't fair. Like, there's a ton of different things inside of here that you can check out. If you are a beginner, the drumming lessons is probably the best spot. I can't language today. This is probably the best to start because it's like a very specific answer to a very specific like question. But the drumming tips has a ton of different stuff ranging from beginner to the most advanced possible. Like there's a drumming tip number 100 is like, I think 15 minutes of me replying to whether or not it's worth it to get a doctorate in music education. And it's just 15 minutes on that one specific topic. So that's probably not relevant if you are new, but if you are interested in getting it, I share my insights as somebody who has a PhD in music education. So there's a huge range inside of this, like drumming tips in terms of simple to very complex responses. But it also has stuff that's like how to get better at performing, how to get better at teaching, and then also like the mental side of like if you're experiencing burnout or you lack motivation, like there's videos on that. So like, actually Control F, burnout. So like drumming tip number 105, what to do if you have no motivation drum and how to prevent burnout from practicing. So that might be helpful if people are interested in that. But if you are beginner or intermediate, the drumming lessons playlist has very specific replies to talking about flams and when to raise the grace note, which you should in some contexts, even though you may have been taught not to do that. You'll learn why in here. But then there's like how to fix your playing zones and tenors or how to actually drum louder. This is something that a lot of like beginner drummers think it's all about muscle, and they'll be like, should I work out and lift weights to do it? It's like, no, watch this video. Or like how to hold traditional grip. So wherever your ability level is, my goal is to make resources that can help you support with your own practicing, your own teaching, etc. That's the goal with this. Oh, and by the way, like I mentioned, like I spent a lot of money doing this. And I put this out for free. Any of the videos that say members first are all coming out for free. Every single one of them. Like this one comes out tomorrow. This one comes out next Friday. And then like every day there's a new play along that releases. If you want that early access to the 600 or so videos, all you have to do is just click the join button, and it's 99 cents. That's the cheapest I could make it on YouTube, and you get all of those videos, early access to them. But again, every single one of them is coming out for free. It just might be a year and a half from now, or it might be tomorrow. So 100% up to you. But the goal is to make this like AdSense supported. If anyone's curious, like, well, what's my end goal with it? That's the end goal. But I make like $1 a day. So all the money. You've been performing drums at your school? Your whole stage fear has been gone? That's awesome. That's good to hear. I've actually got some drumming tips on that. Drumming tip number 60, how to prepare for performance anxiety. This is good for not only the stage fright, but is also good for like audition anxiety. Like when you go into the solo, where it's the one-on-ones, then this has some tips on how you can actually simulate that anxiety and like physically simulate it with your body, and then also to like simulate mentally what that is going to look like and feel like and how to actually prepare for it. So if anyone's curious about that, check out the start of drumming tip number 60. It talks about it. Anyways, great questions. And if anyone's got more questions, like feel free to either leave a comment on any of my thousands of drumming videos. I do reply to all of them. As long as like you're not a troll, then I just like immediately ban you. That's funny. Speaking of it, like YouTube just held your comment for some reason. I don't know why it did that, but I just approved it. So if people are trolls, I just banish them to the nether and don't even reply because I don't waste my time on that. But otherwise, feel free to ask questions on a live stream or feel free to ask a question on any of these videos. But there's so many resources. Sometimes it's like, well, how do I like find what I'm looking for? Every single one of the videos, like I'll just go to a random one, this one. At the top of the description is a link that takes you to my website. So /drum, which is the link that's here if you're on the vertical. it's just the same content, just organized neater than I can on YouTube. So it's a little bit easier to like sort through. Like when you get to the technique section, like, oh, I want to work on my flams. Cool. Here's the playlist for that. Or your rolls. Here's a playlist for that. And then like all the lessons and whatnot at the bottom. So whatever you want, either on YouTube home tab or on my website, same content, just a little bit more on my website because like this one's like a dictionary. So if you're like, I don't know, a Holz block is, well, it's a Chinese block or wood block. So if you get some weird parts asking for whatever a Knockstück is, it means nocturne. I don't know. I don't speak German. But anyways, I'm going to call it here. I'm going to get ready for, what's it called? Yakuza, Like a Dragon. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a limb independent stream. And I'll be doing that for about an hour or so. And I'll be using the limb independence resources, which are here. So check those out if you're interested in it. But I hope you all have a good rest of your day. If you enjoy these free exercises, share it with somebody else. If you don't enjoy these free exercises, then share it with an enemy. Goodbye.